Is intimacy a taboo subject? Not necessarily. Behind every glance, every smile might lie unexpressed desires. Ready to explore the nuances of connection? Have you always dreamed of talking about intimacy with ease? Of setting the mood with a few words? Talking about intimacy means daring to be yourself. It means exploring a universe of feelings and desires. Join us as we discover tips and tricks for more intimate and fulfilling conversations. Click the like button and subscribe to our channel. Activate the bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. You'll discover techniques for connection, tips for overcoming inhibitions, and ideas for adding spice to your relationship. You're amazing. Your support and positive comments touch me deeply. Thanks to you, this community has become a true haven of sharing and kindness. Thank you for being here. You all have such brilliant minds. Your ideas and questions inspire me every day. I am so grateful to be a part of your lives. Your presence motivates me to create content that is always more interesting and relevant. Thank you for being here. Okay, look no further. In this video, we reveal the keys to breaking the ice and unleashing your sensuality as we discover 13 ways to start a conversation that will ignite passions. But be warned, this video is not recommended for people allergic to pleasure.
1. Connect with your desires. There's that classic moment in the bedroom. You're in the middle of a passionate embrace, and your partner whispers and says, "What do you want?" Many people will freeze and think, "I have no idea what I want." Until you become aware of your own desires, any conversation you engage in with your partner about intimacy is probably not going to be productive. You might approach it with very high, unspecific expectations, which puts both parties in a losing situation. It's perfectly normal to take some time with yourself. Many of us never take the time to explore our own curiosities and interests because we feel too much shame. Exploring your desires is a very powerful process, even if you're not in a relationship, in order to discover more about yourself and what makes you tick. If you don't know exactly what you desire, take the time to discover what interests you. Use books and movies to stimulate your imagination. Try making a list of 3 things you enjoy, even if they are minimal, and start from there.
2. Schedule time to discuss intimacy. Since talking about intimacy can bring up a lot of anxieties, one way to ease into it is to plan a conversation. Simply propose the idea of talking about your intimate life together, then set a time to do it. Having a plan allows you to make sure you'll be in a comfortable, private place. It also increases the chances that you'll stick to your plan. If you're feeling nervous, be honest by saying something like, "I'm a little nervous about bringing this up, but I value our intimate life together a lot. I'd like to pick a time to discuss ways to make it even better."
3. Lower the stakes. All our insecurities, vulnerabilities, and fears tend to surface around the subject of intimacy, which can make any conversation about it risky for the relationship. It can be helpful to make a pact with your partner before talking. Promise them that your relationship will be safe, even if the conversation gets thorny. One of the most important things we can do is let go of the idea that everything is at stake and remind ourselves that strong relationships don't end because of an issue with intimacy. You're not going to fall apart simply because you had a difficult conversation about intimacy.
4. Simply acknowledge that you and your partner are in an intimate relationship. Simply saying this out loud can be an easy way to start your first conversation. You're not complaining. You're not trying to solve problems. You're just getting familiar with the topic. When you start having deeper conversations about intimacy, try to stick to one topic at a time to keep it simple. If you feel overwhelmed, be prepared to take breaks. A slow and steady approach can help make the subject feel less overwhelming.
5. Embrace awkwardness. It seems strange on some level that one might feel more comfortable being intimate with someone than talking about intimacy with that same person. Getting undressed is less intimate than having a face-to-face conversation about getting undressed. Perhaps the best way to handle an awkward situation is to put it out in the open. Embrace the awkwardness from the beginning. You could say something like, "I haven't talked about this in a very long time, and I feel uncomfortable talking about it, but I adore you and I'm excited to have this conversation."
6. View the conversation as a way to deepen your relationship, because it is. Having the courage to start a conversation about intimacy shows how much you value your relationship and that you want to improve it. If your partner becomes insecure or defensive, you can remind them that you're starting a conversation not because something is wrong, but because your feelings for them are just right. If we're talking about intimacy, it usually means we want more of it with that person.
7. Think of yourselves as a team. One of the best things you can do for your relationship is to think of you and your partner as teammates, working together against anything that prevents you from having the intimate life of your wildest dreams. Need an enemy to fight? The fairy tale version of intimacy and love is a formidable opponent and can be a lighthearted starting point. When you and your partner oppose it together, you'll feel a camaraderie that can help make your conversations easier and less strained.
8. Keep it personal and positive. Since it's easy to sink into insecurity and defensiveness during any conversation about intimacy, I suggest using I statements and opening and closing conversations gently, i.e., with compliments, positivity, and affirmation. Phrases might look like the following. Here's what I really liked last night. I really enjoy our physical connection, and I'm interested in doing whatever we can to make the most of it. I love you so much, and I'm so attracted to you that I'd like to try something new together. I trust you so much that there are a few things I'd like to try together. We're all so sensitive about these issues that we need to make an effort of active kindness and protection and make sure the other person knows it's not personal. It's not a judgment about them as a human being.
9. Handle negative feelings separately. It's normal to feel resentment or frustration about intimacy, but leading a conversation about intimacy with those feelings risks ending communication. I suggest addressing hurt feelings in their own separate space. If you're struggling with anger or resentment toward your partner about intimacy, find a trusted therapist who can help you deal with it.
10. Ask questions. Over time, we can begin to think we know what we like, what our partner likes, and what we enjoy doing together. But sexuality is not static. Interest can change over time, so it's important to stay curious. This, of course, applies to intimacy, but it's also helpful to remain interested in your partner and in your partnership in its entirety. We forget that there are other conversations that lead us to the conversation about intimate connection. Try asking questions about new adventures you'd like to share with your partner, like traveling, playing pickleball, or dancing in a living room. Remember that play and adventure also help infuse relationships with a sense of eroticism.
11. Broaden your definition of intimacy. Mainstream culture sells us a single image of intimacy. When someone says they haven't been intimate in a while, we all understand they're talking about a specific act. But my definition of intimacy is different from yours and your neighbors. Also, as our bodies and interests evolve, our old definitions of intimacy might no longer suit us. Broadening our definition of physical intimacy can make the subject feel less thorny, as we realize we have a range of choices. It can be physical touch, it can be taking a bath together, etc. I encourage couples to define what intimacy means to them. What might intimacy look like if you broadened its definition? Well, it can look like anything you and your partner desire. Even if you like the fairy tale version, it's worth asking yourself what else you can afford to explore.
12. Put energy into your social life and encourage your partner to do the same. Well-rounded people are sexy people. Having a social life outside of your romantic partner is very important. It's important to be able to go out and have fun and remember who you are outside of the stage of life you're in. Just go out and have a good time without pressure. Platonic interactions and adventures also help us build self-esteem and appreciate joy, two key elements in any productive and loving conversation about intimacy. We bring that back to our relationship because we feel good about ourselves.
13. Keep the conversation going. Once you start discussing intimacy with your partner, it will become easier over time. Just be sure to pace yourselves so you don't feel overwhelmed and don't let the topic fall by the wayside. Intimacy will inevitably evolve, so any good conversation about it will be ongoing. Human connection, the real thing, is seasonal. It regenerates and goes through phases. That's normal. We've been taught that connection is a kind of autopilot, and that's where we get into trouble.
There you have it. We've explored 13 ways to start a conversation about intimacy together, but the possibilities are endless. What's your favorite way to approach this topic? Share it with us in the comments. And if you have other themes you'd like to see covered in future videos, don't hesitate to let me know. On that note, I'm sending you big hugs and see you very soon.